My name is Claire, and before I say anything else, before I explain the blood, the police reports, the missing person flyers, and the thing that still watches me when I sleep, I want you to understand one thing. It happened in Denver, Dot, at an Airbnb cabin. I should have never booked Dot, and no matter what you've heard, no matter what you think you know about realistic horror, nothing compares to being hunted inside a place where you thought you were safe. I wasn't looking for trouble. I wasn't looking for danger or some kind of thrill. I just wanted a weekend to myself, quiet, mountains, morning coffee on a wooden porch, and nothing but pine trees and sunlight. The rental listing looked perfect. Cozy rustic retreat. Secluded, peaceful, no neighbors in sight. At the time, that sounded like heaven. Now I know better. Because isolation doesn't mean peace. Isolation means no one can hear you when it starts. I remember the drive up from the city, winding through empty mountain roads as the sun dipped low, painting Denver behind me in gold and copper. The farther I got from the highway, the more the world seemed to fall away. No traffic, no people, just forests and dirt roads and silence. I played music to fill the emptiness, humming along, feeling proud of myself for finally doing something just for me. My breakup with Ryan had left me drained and scattered. I needed distance from him, from my phone, from my apartment walls that felt like they were shrinking. So I booked the cabin. I didn't even tell anyone where I was going. No friends, no family. I just left. God, I wish I had told someone. Dot. By the time I reached the final stretch, dusk had slipped into full darkness. My GPS showed one last turn, a narrow gravel road partially swallowed by trees. I slowed down, squinting through the windshield. Half expecting a deer to leap out, the cabin appeared suddenly between the trees. Its roofline silhouetted against a starless sky, small, wooden, quaint, exactly like the photos, but the photos didn't show how dark it would feel in person, or how wrong the silence would sound. Still, I told myself I was being paranoid. I parked, grabbed my duffel, and crunched toward the front steps. The lockbox code worked. The key turned smoothly. I stepped inside. The smell hit me first: pine, dust, and something faintly metallic. Old pipes, maybe? Rustic life. I shut the door behind me and exhaled. I was here. Finally. My weekend of peace. There were only 3 rooms. A small kitchen, a living area with a fireplace, and a narrow hallway leading to the bedroom and bathroom. A lamp on a timer clicked on automatically, casting a warm, yellow glow across the wooden walls. Cozy enough. Safe enough. I made tea, connected to the Wi-Fi, and flicked through Netflix until I found something dumb and familiar. I remember laughing at some throwaway joke in the show before noticing, out of the corner of my eye, the front door. Not open. Just unlocked. I was sure I had locked it. I replayed the moment in my head. Door closed, key turned, handle checked. I remember doing it. I'm obsessive about locks. I always check them twice. Sometimes 3 times. I stood slowly and crossed the room. The deadbolt was definitely unlocked. Maybe I was tired. Maybe I had imagined locking it. I turned the deadbolt with a click and forced a little laugh at myself, but the laugh sounded thin, fake. Even to me, I sat back down and tried to keep watching Netflix, but my mind wouldn't let it go. I stared at the door and stared and stared. My tea grew cold. The show played to no audience. Eventually, I shook myself and went to bed. I brushed my teeth, plugged in my phone, and crawled beneath the thick comforter. The wind picked up outside, brushing branches across the cabin exterior in long scrapes and taps. I told myself it was normal. I told myself I was safe, and I eventually fell asleep. 1:47. A sound pulled me awake. Not the wind. Not an animal. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate, Inside the cabin, my eyes snapped open, and every muscle in my body went rigid. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I just listened. One step, then another. Then another. Someone was in the living room. I wasn't dreaming. The footsteps were too heavy, too human. I grabbed my phone with a shaking hand. No service. No bars. Just SOS only in the corner of the screen. Panic surged up my throat. I slid silently out of bed, lowering myself to the wooden floor. I crawled across the room and eased the bedroom door closed, inch by inch, praying it wouldn't creak. The footsteps stopped. Silence. Then tap, tap, tap. Knuckles. On the other side of my door. My heart stopped. Literally stopped. I could feel my pulse vanish from my fingertips. The tapping came again, slower this time. Like whoever was out there was enjoying it. I knew I had two choices: scream, run, fight. Make noise, stay silent, and hope he thinks I'm not here. I chose silence. The tapping stopped again. I pressed my ear to the door, hand clamped over my mouth to muffle my breathing. Nothing. I waited. 5 seconds. 10.30. A full minute. Then I heard footsteps move away slow, dragging steps as if he were barefoot or wearing socks. Weight shifting just enough to feel intentional, taunting. He moved back toward the living room. I heard a chair slide. Something metal clinked. Then silence again. Minutes passed. Maybe hours. Time didn't feel real anymore. I didn't sleep again that night. I stayed there, sitting on the bedroom floor, knees to my chest, listening. At some point, morning light crept through the blinds. Birds chirped outside. The cabin looked peaceful again, almost innocent, but I knew better. When I finally opened the door, the living room was empty. No signs of a break. No footprints. No displaced objects, except for one thing on the kitchen counter. The cabin's front door key. Not the spare. Not a copy. My key. The one I had used. Someone had taken it while I slept and put it back in plain sight, mocking me. I should have left right then. Any sane person would have. But fear makes you slow, confused, doubtful. You don't think clearly. You rationalize. You pretend nothing is wrong because the alternative is admitting you're in danger. I told myself maybe I left the key out. Maybe I imagined the footsteps. Maybe it was anxiety. I wish I could go back and slap that version of me, because that was only night 1. And things were about to get much, much worse. I didn't pack. I didn't run. I should have. I replay that morning 1,000 times in my head, always begging that version of me to grab the keys, get in the car, and just drive until the mountains disappeared behind me. But fear is strange. It doesn't always make you flee. Sometimes it makes you freeze and pretend everything is fine. I brewed coffee I didn't drink, showered under water that suddenly felt colder than it was. I wandered the cabin, pretending I was looking for something I'd lost, but I knew what I was really doing. I was checking the living room. The kitchen. Behind the couch. Inside. The shower. Under the bed. Every corner. Every shadow. Every inch of that place. Nothing. No sign of forced entry. No muddy footprints. No discarded tool. No broken lock. The front door was still locked. My phone still had no service. And the cabin looked exactly as it had when I arrived, but the key on the counter never moved. I didn't touch it. I didn't dare. Eventually, just to feel less helpless, I grabbed my laptop, opened the Airbnb dashboard, and clicked Contact Host. Hi, sorry to bother you, but is there any chance someone else has access to the cabin? A groundskeeper or cleaner? Just something I want to double check. I read it twice, hit send, and closed the screen. While I waited, I decided to step outside. Maybe the fresh air would clear my head. Maybe sunlight would burn away the anxiety clinging to me like a second skin. The forest was bright and deceptively calm. Tall pines swayed gently. A narrow dirt trail stretched beyond the cabin, leading downhill. I walked a few yards, breathing in mountain air, hugging my arms against myself. That's when I noticed it, across the soft earth, near the cabin's side wall. Footprints, not boot prints. Not sneaker treads. Bare feet, leading from the woods. Straight to my bedroom window. My vision tunneled. I stumbled backward, nearly falling. The earth felt like it tilted beneath me. Every cell in my body screamed, "Run, leave, now." But I froze again because I suddenly had a darker realization. Those prints weren't made last night. The edges were soft. Weathered. Days old. Meaning, he had been watching since before I arrived. I rushed back inside, locked both deadbolts, and slid a chair under the handle, hands trembling so badly I could barely grip the wood. Then I went back to the laptop. There was a response from the host. "Hi, Claire." "Nope, nobody else has access. And don't worry, the cabin is extremely secure. Enjoy your stay." I stared at the smiley face. It made my skin crawl. I typed again, faster this time. "Are there security cameras on the property?" 3 dots appeared. Then nope. "We respect privacy." "Why do you ask? Everything okay?" I didn't reply because I had suddenly noticed something on the wall. Something I somehow missed the night before. A smoke detector. Not unusual, but this one had a tiny green light and it was pointed directly at the bed. I dragged a chair over, climbed up, and leaned close. Not a smoke detector. A lens, a hidden camera. My stomach dropped so violently I thought I would vomit. I ripped it from the wall. Wires dangling like veins, tossed it across the room, then scanned every inch of the ceiling, the lamps, the air vents, another lens behind a slotted vent. Another inside a hollowed out knot in the wooden beam. Another in the corner, behind a decorative lantern. They were everywhere. Watching the bed, watching the living room, watching the shower, watching me. There was no groundskeeper. No, wrong key. No, anxiety. Someone had been in that cabin. Someone was still coming and going. Someone had been watching me from the moment I walked in. My breath became shallow. I couldn't get air. I backed into the wall and slid to the floor, shaking so hard my teeth chattered. I don't know how long I sat there before the sound broke through. Footsteps on the porch. Slow, heavy, measured. Like last night. Then a single twist of the doorknob. Not trying to break in, just testing it, testing me. Slapped a hand over my mouth to keep from screaming. The footsteps paused. Silence. Then I heard it, a long exhale, as if someone were leaning their face against the door, breathing in the scent of the wood, of the space, of me. My eyes flooded with tears. I didn't move a muscle. After a moment that felt longer than my entire life, I heard the footsteps retreat. Down the steps, across the porch, onto gravel. Then silence again. I stayed frozen for nearly an hour before I moved. When I finally crawled to the window, I peeked through the blinds. No one. Bar. No movement. Just woods. As if he had vanished. I knew then this wasn't random. He wasn't trying to rob me. He wasn't a drifter or junkie or neighbor. He chose me. And he was playing. I didn't bother crying. My body was past that point. I was in that strange numb state where terror freezes your emotions instead of spilling them out. I remember thinking one thing, and one thing only. I can't stay here another night. I grabbed my duffel bag, tossed my charger and laptop inside, and sprinted into the bedroom for my car keys. I knew what I needed to do: get to the car, drive down the mountain, find signal, and call for help. Simple, logical. But when I reached into my purse for my keys, My blood turned to ice. They weren't there. Not in the purse, not on the nightstand, not in my jacket. I tore the room apart, mattress flipped, drawers yanked out, suitcase dumped onto the floor. Nothing. My car keys were gone. That meant he hadn't just stood outside. He hadn't just tapped on the bedroom door. He had been inside. Not last night. Not this morning. While I was awake, while I was in the cabin, he had been close enough to take my keys from my purse without me noticing. My hands shook uncontrollably. The room felt smaller, the walls tighter, the ceiling lower. I ran to the kitchen counter, grabbed the cabin's front door key, the one he had returned as a taunt, and held it like a weapon. Even though it was useless. Then I saw something new, something that hadn't been there before. Something sitting on the kitchen table. A phone. Not mine. Not a smartphone. A cheap, old brick-style prepaid phone. With a sticky note on it, I forced myself forward and read it. Stay. My vision doubled. My knees nearly buckled. I dropped the note and stumbled away like the phone might explode. He didn't just want to trap me. He wanted to communicate. Control. Command. My lungs squeezed. Every instinct I had screamed that if I stayed, I would die. Or worse. I went to the front window and peered outside. No car. No figure. No movement. Just endless pine trees and a gravel driveway disappearing into the woods. There was one possible escape. Run through the forest until I reached a main road. Maybe an hour on foot. Maybe 2. I didn't care. I just needed to get out. I grabbed my shoes, shoved my laptop and wallet into my duffel, and crept to the door. I slowly slid the chair away, twisted the deadbolt, and eased the door open. The afternoon air hit my face, cold and sharp. For a moment, I let myself believe it would be that easy. One step outside. Then 2. Then I froze because sitting on the hood of my car was my phone, balanced perfectly, screen side up, like a trophy, and next to it, my car keys. I stared at them from the porch, unable to move, unable to breathe. He wanted me to take them. He wanted me to walk up to that car, which meant he was close. Watching. Waiting. I scanned the tree line. Nothing. But I felt it. That electric animal sensation you get when a predator has its eyes on you. I stepped backward into the cabin and gently closed the door. I sank to the floor and finally broke. Not loud sobs, not hysterics, just silent, shaking tears. The kind that hurt more because you can't release any of it. That phone on the table. Thus. Once. I stared at it from across the room, my pulse thundering in my ears. The screen lit up. One new message. I forced myself up, legs trembling, and walked toward it like someone approaching a coffin. The message said, "Good girl." I dropped the phone like it burned my skin. He was rewarding me, praising me, like I was a pet who had obeyed. I grabbed a knife from the kitchen, a dull chef's knife, the best the cabin offered, and backed into the bedroom, locking myself inside. I shoved the dresser in front of the door, then the nightstand, then a chair. A pathetic barricade, but it made me feel less helpless. Hours passed, daylight faded, night crept in, the cabin groaned as temperatures dropped. Shadows stretched across the floor, and I sat there on the bedroom floor, knife in hand. Eyes locked on the door, listening. Waiting. Every sound made me flinch. At 2:12 a.m. It finally came. Creak, not footsteps. The sound of a door hinge. The front door. Slow. Heavy. Opening. Done. Soft footsteps on wooden floorboards. Not rushed. Not searching. Just strolling. Exploring. Like he lived there. I covered my mouth with both hands, knife trembling in my lap. The footsteps moved through the living room, then the kitchen, then down the hallway. Stopping. Right. Outside. My door. Silence. Stretched razor thin, I could hear him breathing. Not heavy. Not tired. Calm. Controlled. enjoying this. Then, a slow drag across the wood, metal on wood dot like a knife or a crowbar or a fingernail dot. He traced it along the door. SCCRRRRRA Botter nearly gave out. My vision blurred. I held my breath until it hurt. He didn't knock this time. He whispered, right against the door, a man's voice, low and breathy, dragging out each syllable. Klata air. My soul left my body. He knew my name. He wasn't improvising. He wasn't random dot. He had studied me. He had chosen me dot, and now he was inside. I didn't answer him. I didn't move. I didn't even blink. I sat frozen, knife clenched tight in my fist, staring at the bedroom door like it was the only thing keeping me alive, and maybe it was. On the other side, he exhaled a slow, satisfied breath. Then I heard something I will never forget. He laughed, not loud, not unhinged, just a soft, almost amused chuckle, like this was all a game he'd already won. The scraping stopped. His footsteps began moving again back down the hallway, through the living room, and then the front door opened. Hinges ground. Cold night air rushed in. Then silence. No closing door. No footsteps leaving. No car. Nothing. I waited 5 minutes. 10, 20. My body locked in place, terrified to make a sound that would tell him I was still there. Eventually, exhaustion dragged me under. My eyes stayed open as long as humanly possible, but at some point, sheer fatigue took me. I fell asleep with my back against the wall and the knife on my chest. Sunlight woke me. For a second, I didn't know where I was. Then I saw the barricade, the scratched door, the knife in my hand, and it all rushed back. I listened. Silence. Dead, heavy, suffocating silence. I eased the furniture away from the door an inch at a time, flinching at every tiny sound. When I finally opened it, the hallway was empty. The living room was empty. The kitchen, empty. No sign of him. The front door was standing open. He wanted me to know he could come and go whenever he pleased, that this place, that I was his territory now. I stepped outside slowly, eyes scanning the tree line, half expecting him to be standing there. But the forest was still. Dew clung to pine needles. Birds chirped high above. Oblivious to the nightmare on the ground, my phone and keys were still on the hood of my car. A prize I hadn't earned, a trap I hadn't triggered. I grabbed them, hands shaking, and climbed into the driver's seat. As soon as I turned the key, I saw it. White paper, tucked under a windshield wiper. I pulled it free and unfolded it with trembling fingers. One word: run. My heart jumped into my throat. Was that a threat? Or a warning? I didn't wait to interpret it. I floored the gas and tore down the gravel road, fishtailing on loose rock as the cabin disappeared in the rearview mirror. My hands were slick with sweat, my breath shallow, my entire body trembling like it had only now decided to register the trauma. When I finally reached a paved road, I didn't stop. Not for gas, not for food, not even when I passed a police station. I didn't trust anyone. Not yet. Not after what I'd seen. I just drove. Hours passed before I finally pulled into a crowded rest stop off the highway. Bright lights, dozens of people. Security cameras everywhere safe enough to breathe. I sat there with the engine off, forehead against the steering wheel, trying to come back into my body. Eventually, I forced myself to check my real phone, and that's when I saw it. The prepaid phone was in the passenger seat. I hadn't brought it. I hadn't touched it, but it was there. Buzzing. A new message appeared from an unknown number. I swallowed, then opened it. You did good, Claire. Now we can begin. My entire bloodstream turned cold. Had it been trying to kill me? Not. Yet he was conditioning me, testing how I reacted, what I feared, what I'd choose. He didn't want me dead. He wanted me in the game. I stared at the highway beyond the windshield, cars passing, families traveling, truckers hauling freight life, moving on as if my reality hadn't detonated. I typed back with shaking thumbs, "What do you want from me?" For a long moment, there was nothing. Then the phone buzzed. Again, to tell you the truth. Another buzz about your parents. I froze. Hands, numbed. Mind, blanked out. My parents died in a car accident when I was 9. Everyone knew. Everyone. I typed back. My parents are dead. Immediate reply. No, Claire. That's what you were told. Another buzz. Come back to the mountain. The phone buzzed again before I could respond. If you want answers, you'll return to the cabin. There's more you need to see. More you need to remember. Then a final message. Tonight. I stared at that last word until my vision blurred. He didn't want a victim. He wanted a participant. And worst of all, some part of me, some broken, desperate, terrified part wanted the truth. Even if it meant going back. Even if it meant stepping into a nightmare on purpose. Even if it meant I might not return. I don't remember driving back into the mountains. I don't remember eating or stopping for gas or the sunset bleeding across the sky. All I remember is the feeling, that sickening pull, that there was no escaping this now. If I didn't go back, I would never sleep again. I would never stop looking over my shoulder. I would never know what he meant about my parents. And that possibility was worse than the fear. By the time I reached the cabin road, night had swallowed everything. The forest on either side of the gravel path looked alive, breathing, watching, waiting. My headlights carved 2 white tunnels through the darkness. But every few seconds, I thought I saw movement just outside the beam. A flash of fabric. A figure. A face. I kept driving. When the cabin finally came into view, my stomach twisted. The front door was wide open, drifting in the wind just like before. No lights inside. No sound. No footprints I could see. Just that yawning black doorway waiting to swallow me again. I killed the engine and sat there for a moment, gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles went bloodless. I could turn around. I could leave. I could pretend none of this ever. The prepaid phone vibrated in my jacket. One message. Inside. I stepped out of the car. The cold hit me immediately, slicing through my clothes and into my bones. Gravel crunched under my boots. The night air smelled like pine and rust. The door creaked as I pushed it open wider, every instinct in my body screaming at me to run. But I crossed the threshold anyway. Inside, the cabin looked staged. Not chaotic, not ransacked. Arranged. On the kitchen table sat a single Polaroid photograph. My hand shook as I lifted it. It was me. At 9 years old, standing between my parents. Except I remembered that day. That photo. We were smiling in front of our old house. But this Polaroid was different. In this version, my mother's eyes were swollen and red, like she had been crying. My father's hand was gripping my shoulder too tight, fingers digging into my skin. And behind us, barely noticeable, was a figure in the background. Tall. Unfocused. Watching. My breath hitched. There was writing on the back. It began long before the crash. I stumbled backward, heart racing, and nearly tripped over something. When I looked down, I saw a trapdoor in the floor, one I had never noticed before. Metal ring handle glinting faintly in the dark. It was open an inch, just enough to invite Emmy. Or lure me. The phone buzzed again, below. I swallowed hard, grabbed a flashlight from the counter, and pulled the hatch open. A set of wooden steps descended into darkness. The smell hit me first, damp earth, old metal, and something else. Something sour, like rot buried far beneath the floorboards. I stepped down slowly, one hand on the wall, the other gripping the flashlight so tightly my wrist ached. The deeper I went, the colder it became. My breath fogged in front of me. Dot at the bottom was a narrow hallway, dirt walls reinforced with wood beams, like an old storm cellar or fallout bunker. My flashlight flickered weakly across the space. Then I saw the room, and inside it, I saw proof. There were files, tapes, newspapers, boxes stacked floor to ceiling, labeled with my last name. A corkboard covered in photos, strings, connections, like someone had been documenting my life for years. My birthdays, my schools, my friends, even photos from high school. I thought no one had taken every step of my life. Recorded by someone who should not have known me at all. At the center of the room stood an old reel-to-reel tape machine on a metal table. A single strip of white tape ran through it. Waiting to play. There was a note taped to the machine. Press play if you want the truth. My hands shook violently, but I pressed the button. The tape crackled. Then I heard a voice I hadn't heard in nearly 20 years. My mother. If you are hearing this, it means they finally told you. My knees almost buckled. I gripped the table to stay upright. Claire, sweetheart, your father and I never wanted you in this. We tried to run. We tried to hide. But secrets don't die, not when powerful men want them alive. I covered my mouth, tears burning down my face. They will tell you we died in a crash. They will tell you it was an accident. They will tell you to forget. But you must remember, nothing about your life was ever an accident. The tape continued, her voice trembling. Your father, he wasn't who you think he was. And the man you fear now, he isn't a stranger. Not to us. Not to you. My heart pounded so hard I thought it might stop. Claire. He was the one who took you the first time. I stopped breathing. The room spun out. The phone buzzed in my pocket. A new message. Ready to remember? I turned, and I realized I was no longer alone in the basement. He stood at the bottom of the stairs, just a silhouette at first, tall, still, blocking the only exit. The dim light from my dying flashlight barely touched his face, but I recognized his outline instantly. The way he held his shoulders, the tilt of his head, that cold patience, like a man who'd been waiting decades for a moment he had rehearsed 1,000 times. The collector, but as he stepped closer, my stomach twisted violently. Beneath the shadows, I saw familiar features. The jawline, the eyes. Eyes I once loved and trusted in childhood memories that now felt poison. I felt my voice rip out of me, hoarse and trembling. Dad? He didn't deny it. He didn't even flinch. He only smiled, soft, almost nostalgic, as if this were a reunion instead of a nightmare. You finally remember, he said, his voice calm. Too calm. I was afraid the crash erased more than I intended. My legs weakened. The tape machine whirred behind me, still spinning, still feeding me truths I was never meant to hear. I stepped backward, shaking my head. No, you died. I saw the reports. The funeral. A funeral is easy to buy, he interrupted. Death is easy to fake. Truth is much harder. My heartbeat roared in my ears. I wanted to scream, to run, to tear through the wall if I had to, but my legs wouldn't move. My body was frozen, trapped between terror and disbelief. Why? I managed to whisper. Why me? He moved closer. The flashlight trembled in my hand, and the beam slid across his face, revealing the man I once called father, and something colder underneath. Not possessed, not deranged, willing. You were chosen long before you were born, he murmured. You carry a lineage that is older than governments. Older than nations. Older than the cabin you stand in. You are the final link. The one they need. The one I protected. You didn't protect me, I snarled. You kidnapped me. You lied to me. You ruined me. He tilted his head with mild curiosity, as if observing an upset child instead of a terrified adult. I saved you from a life of ignorance, he said. Secrets are a burden, Claire, but they are also a crown. My stomach churned up behind him. I heard something. A soft dragging sound. A breath. A presence that didn't belong to either of us. We weren't alone. You're not the only one who remembers, he said. Others are here. People who devoted their lives to awakening what sleeps inside you. They've waited for you to return. I stepped back again, bumping the table. The tape machine clicked. The reel had reached its end. Silence swallowed the room for a beat that felt like an hour. Then footsteps. Slow, synchronized footsteps coming from the dark hallway beyond the bunker's doorway. Not rushed. Not frantic, patient footsteps, welcoming footsteps. No, I whispered, pleading to no one. Not this. Not again. He reached out a hand, fatherly, gentle, horrifying. It's time to finish what we began. He said. Every instinct in my body detonated at once. I bolted. I didn't think. I just ran. Down a side passage I hadn't seen before, my shoulders slamming into rough dirt walls as I sprinted through darkness. Behind me, voices rose, not shouts, not threats, chants. Low, rhythmic chanting, dozens of voices whispering my name in unison. Claire, Claire, Claire. My vision blurred with panic. The flashlight flickered and died. I ran blind, guided only by the cold rush of stale air and the pounding terror in my chest. My hands tore against splintered wood and jagged stone. I didn't care. I had to get out, a ladder. My fingers collided with it in the dark. Wood, old, maybe unstable, but it led upward. I scrambled up, lungs burning, throat raw. Above me, a square outline of faint moonlight glowed through a hatch. I shoved it open and dragged myself onto the forest floor, gulping freezing night air, coughing and shaking. I slammed the hatch shut and stumbled backward, falling into the pine needles. The woods were silent, too silent. I staggered to my feet and spun in a circle, searching for movement, for shapes in the darkness, for chanting, for footsteps. Nothing. Just wind through the treetops. Just the hum of night insects. Just distance. I collapsed against a fallen log, sobbing, not from weakness, but from shock, rage, betrayal, and something far worse, the certainty that my father, the man I once trusted, was not done, that he would come for me again, that the chanting was not over, that the truth was deeper than I'd even imagined, and that whatever lineage he believed I carried was not finished with me. Not even close. I didn't know how long I stayed there on the forest floor, shaking, frozen, gulping cold air like a drowning victim who'd just broken the surface. My body wanted to run, but my mind was trapped replaying the last 5 minutes on a loop. My father. Alive. Leading a cult. Down. There. Waiting for me. When my brain finally snapped back into survival mode, I wiped my face with the back of my hand, stood up on unsteady legs, and forced myself to look around. The forest was pitch black except for a slice of moonlight filtering through the trees. My breaths came in sharp, visible bursts in the cold. I needed a direction, a plan, a road, a house, a sign of civilization, anything. I started walking. Branches snapped under my feet, echoing much louder than they should have. Every sound felt hostile. Every shadow felt sentient. I kept my arms wrapped around myself, the thin jacket doing nothing against the Colorado night. Minutes passed, then more. Then more, but the unsettling part wasn't how long I walked. It was that nothing changed. No trail. Markers. No headlights in the distance. No distant highway. No power lines. No fences. No signs of life. Just trees. Endless trees. More and more trees. Like the forest was duplicating itself while I wasn't looking. Panic crawled up my spine for a new reason. A worse reason. What if I wasn't getting farther away? What if I was going in circles? I picked up my pace, walking faster, then jogging, then sprinting, desperate, angry at the silence, wanting to hear anything that proved I was still in the real world. Then, somewhere in the distance, I heard a sound, not chanting God, not footsteps. A car horn, short, twice, like someone locking their vehicle. A completely normal sound, painfully normal, and I almost fell to my knees in relief. I sprinted toward it, branches whipping my arms and face, until I stumbled into a small clearing. There, at the edge of the trees, was a gravel road. On that road, parked at an angle, was a black pickup truck. A man stood beside it, smoking a cigarette, looking at his phone. He hadn't seen me yet. I didn't care who he was. I didn't care if I frightened him. I ran toward him and shouted, voice cracking, "Hey, please help me." He jumped, dropping his cigarette, spinning to face me. Whoa, hey now," he said, hands raised. "You okay?" "No," I gasped. "Please, I need to get as far from here as possible. There are people, they took me, my dad, I don't know, just please, drive." "I'll explain later." He stared at me for a long moment, taking in my torn jacket, dirt-streaked face, wild eyes. Finally, he nodded. "All right, get in." I nearly sobbed in relief. I yanked the passenger door open and climbed inside, slamming it shut and locking it. The truck's interior smelled like pine and old leather. I curled up, shaking as he walked around and slid into the driver's seat. But when he started the engine, something hit me. A sticker on his dashboard, black. Background. Gold symbol, a symbol I recognized because it was carved into the tape. Machined out and into the walls. The cult's symbol. My breath seized in my chest. Slowly, I turned to face him. He wasn't looking at his phone anymore. He was looking at me, smiling. "I'm glad you made it out," he said calmly. "We were worried he might hurt you." Before the offering, my hand hit the door handle, but the lock clicked down on its own. Child safety. Locks from the driver's side. He leaned closer. "You were never meant to run." "Claire," he whispered, "the woods will always send you back to us." I threw myself against the door, screaming, pounding, kicking, but his hand shot out and grabbed my wrist with crushing force, and then a horn blared, headlights flooded the truck, tires screeched. Another car came flying around the bend, a small silver sedan, and in the instant he turned to look, I reacted. I bit him hard. He screamed and loosened his grip just enough. Instinct took control. I unlocked the door, threw my body out of the moving truck, hit the gravel shoulder, rolled down a shallow ditch, and didn't stop rolling until everything went black. Woke up to hospital lights, a beeping, monitor. The sterile smell of antiseptic, the gentle hum of fluorescent bulbs. A nurse gasped when she saw I was awake and rushed to get a doctor. Soon there were officers too, notebooks open, badges gleaming. They asked me everything, and I told them everything. About my dad, about the bunker. About the cult, about the tapes, about the collector. About the offering. About the woods. They listened, they nodded, they thanked me, and then told me something that made my blood run cold. They found no bunker. No cabin. No hidden entrance. No chanting. No cult members. Just a burned down foundation. An ash that had been there for years. That land's been empty a long time, the detective said gently. Nothing out there but wildlife. I stared at him, shaking my head. No, I was there. You have to go back, you'll find it. The hatches, we checked, he said. That forest is protected land. And there are no structures out there. Not anymore. I opened my mouth to argue, to scream, to beg, but then I saw something behind him. A clipboard on the wall, with a logo in the corner, black. That ground dot gold symbol dot my throat, close dot my vision, TUNNEL. I dot, the detective smiled, the same warm, patient smile my father used in the bunker. You're safe now, Claire, he said. Just rest. We'll take it from here. And I knew, with bone-deep certainty, that the cult hadn't lost me. They had simply moved me somewhere they could watch me better. Somewhere I couldn't run. Somewhere they controlled everything. I wasn't. Rescued. I was collected. I didn't sleep in that hospital. I couldn't. Every sound in the hallway, every shoe squeak, every cartwheel, every distant monitor beep felt like a countdown. A timer I couldn't see but could feel. The detective's voice kept replaying in my head. You're safe now. Claire, we'll take it from here. But I knew that tone now. The quiet confidence of men who believed they already owned me. That night, maybe around 2 or 3 a.m., I sat up in the hospital bed and started testing things. The window was bolted shut. The door didn't lock from my side. The nurses who came in didn't have name tags, and none of them ever used each other's names. They just said, you dot him, dot her, doctor. No personal identity. No friendliness. No recognition of individuality. A cult doesn't allow identity. Around sunrise, a nurse came in to check my 4. When she leaned over, her sleeve slid back. I saw it, clear as daylight, burned into her skin like a brand. The black and gold symbol, dot jolt of terror. I yanked my arm away. She didn't flinch. She only smiled. You'll be ready soon, she whispered, not breaking eye contact. The offering was delayed. But the date is close, Claire. Your bloodline was always meant for this. Then she tightened the 4th strap and walked away like she hadn't just said something insane. I waited 10 minutes, heart pounding, brain racing, then dragged the 4 needle out of my arm myself. Blood smeared down my wrist, but I didn't care. I threw on my clothes from a bag in the corner and cracked the door open. The hallway was empty, too empty. Hospitals don't stay silent. There are always voices, phones, machines, PA announcements. But here, nothing. Like the building itself was paused. I slipped into the hall and walked, then jogged toward the exit sign. Every corner I turned, I expected someone to stop me. No one did. Not until I reached the heavy locked double doors at the end of the wing. A man stood with his back to me. Same black coat. Same rigid posture. The same collector stillness asterisk I remembered from the cabin. My father's voice echoed behind me. Claire, you can't run from your blood. I spun, but no one was there. Just the voice. In the walls. In the vents. In my head, my hands shook as I backed away from the locked door and ducked into a stairwell instead. I rushed down 2 flights and crashed through a fire exit into an alley behind the hospital. Cold morning air hit me, and for the first time in days, I saw normal life. Cars on the street, people walking dogs, joggers, delivery trucks. The world was still turning, which meant I had a chance. I stumbled toward the road, raising my hand for help, and a rideshare SUV slowed beside me, window rolling down. Claire Randall? The driver asked. Every bone in my body turned to ice. I didn't answer. I ran. I sprinted across the street, down a side block, cutting between houses, lungs screaming until my legs threatened to collapse. The city swallowed me, and I kept running until I found a bus terminal. crowded and loud and blessed with anonymity. I bought a ticket with cash from a hospital vending machine refund tray and rode out of Denver. For 5 hours, I stared out the window, waiting to see a black pickup behind us, or a gold symbol on a bumper sticker, or my father's eyes in the glass. Nothing. When the bus finally stopped in a small town near the Utah border, I got off and walked until I found a cheap roadside motel. I paid in cash, no ID, no phone number. I locked myself in the room, shoved a chair under the knob, and sat on the floor hugging my knees. For a moment, just a moment, I believed I had escaped. Then I saw it on the motel nightstand. A folded note. 3 words. Black ink offering in 2. No signature. No explanation. Just a countdown. And when I looked in the mirror above the sink for the first time, I noticed something that made my breath vanish. Along my collarbone, faint and fresh, was the beginning of a symbol. The same black and gold insignia, branded into my skin. Not healed, not scarred. Not tattooed. Growing. Like it was waking up, like it had always been there. And all at once, I understood. I wasn't running from them. I was becoming them. I didn't sleep at all that night. I sat with my back against the motel wall, knees pulled to my chest, staring at the symbol beneath my collarbone. It pulsed faintly, like a second heartbeat that didn't belong to me. Every few minutes, I whispered to myself, "It's not real. It's not real. It's not real." But the longer I watched it, the more certain I became. It was growing down at dawn. I stuffed my few belongings into a bag and left the motel before the sun fully rose. I didn't know where I was going, only that I had 48 hours left. Maybe less. No phones. No cards. No family. No friends I dared endanger. Just the road. And the symbol. By noon, I found a diner off the highway. Small, half-empty, run by a tired-looking woman whose eyes never quite met mine. I ordered coffee I didn't drink, just so I could sit and think, but I didn't get long. The bell on the diner door jingled. I froze, because the man who walked in was wearing the same black coat, the same insignia pin on his collar. He scanned the diner, slow, deliberate, until his eyes landed on me. I ran out the back door, across the lot, through a cluster of trees. My lungs burned, my vision blurred, but I didn't stop. Not until I stumbled onto an old service road and saw a sign I recognized, Denver 117 miles. It hit me like a sledgehammer. My symbol. The countdown. The cult. My father. The bunker. The tapes. Everything had started in Denver. Everything would end there. I didn't want to go back. Every instinct screamed run the other direction, but something deeper tugged at me, merciless and absolute. I wasn't being chased back to Denver. I was being pulled. It took me a day and a half to hitchhike, walk, and bus my way back. By the time I reached the outskirts of the city, it was already late. The sky over Denver was red, not a sunset red, but a burning, unnatural crimson that stained the clouds like spilled blood. That was the night I stopped lying to myself. This wasn't just a cult. This was something old, something organized. Something everywhere. Something that had been waiting for my bloodline to mature, generation by generation, until me. I followed the road back into the mountains, past where the cabin should have been, past where the bunker should have been, past where my nightmare should have ended. The forest felt alive, branches swaying without wind, leaves whispering like voices. Then, through the pines, I saw them. Dozens of black-cloaked figures, masks of wood and gold, torches illuminating a wide clearing I had never seen before, and at the center, my father. Smiling. Waiting. "Welcome home, Claire," he said as I stepped into the clearing. I didn't run this time. I walked right up to him, numb, hollow. "What is the offering?" I asked, my voice barely mine anymore. He cupped my face with a gentleness that made me sick. The offering, he said softly, is not a sacrifice. He leaned closer, whispering against my ear. It's a return. The cult stepped back, forming a perfect circle around us. The ground between us began to move. Soil shifted. Roots trembled. The earth split, not wide, not violently, just enough for me to see a shape rising from beneath the forest floor. A stone slab dot covered in symbols, dot all matching the one on my skin. I don't want this, I whispered. I don't belong to you. I don't belong to any of this. My father smiled, sad and proud. You never had a choice. Our bloodline was made for this. You are the vessel, the body that will open the way. I shook my head frantically. Open the way to WHA? The ground rumbled. The symbol on my collarbone burned, searing through my skin like molten wire. To reunite him with the world, my father said. The one who fed our line, the one who made us chosen, the one who will wake through you. I staggered backward. No. The pain exploded through my chest, my spine, my skull. I collapsed, convulsing, clawing at my skin. The cult began chanting. The same rhythm I'd heard in the bunker, low and patient and ancient. Karol Vision, Karol Vision. My father knelt beside me, placing a hand over my heart, pressing it flat against the burning symbol. You were born for this, Claire. The offering isn't your death. He smiled. It's your transformation. The world went white dot, then black dot, then nothing. I woke up in a bed, a soft bed. Clean sheets, warm light through gauze curtains, a quiet room that smelled like fresh flowers and winter air. For a moment, one brief, cruel second, I believed I had escaped. Then I looked around. The walls were adorned with the symbol dot. My arms were marked with lines that hadn't been there before, branching, spreading, creeping like veins of ink beneath my flesh. And in the corner of the room, a mirror. I forced myself to stand. My legs were weak, but I crossed the room and looked. I wish I hadn't. The reflection was me, but not me. My eyes were wrong. Too dark. Too deep. Something else stared back from inside them, alive and patient. Footsteps approached. The door opened. My father stood there, smiling gently. Good morning, Claire, he said. The offering is complete. The vessel is awakened. What am I now? I whispered. He stepped closer and kissed my forehead. You, he said, are the beginning. I am not running anymore. The cult does not chase me. They gather around me. I do not fear them. They fear me. And the thing inside my blood is awake now. I don't know when it will take everything. I only know this when it does. The world won't be ready, and no one will believe the warning came from a girl who rented an Airbnb in Denver.